Hello.
Hello.
By the way, there really wasn't any sound to your intro.
Oh no. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to do that again, and you're gonna have to tell me if you can hear it.
Well, I mean, if you're using OBS to use, because I did see you were
No,
using
I
that.
know sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and I've got to figure out why. Because I'm not changing any of the settings. Unless I bet I know what it was. Hold on. I'm gonna do that one sec. And then if we can hear it, I will just let it play. Maybe it's not doing it. Hold on. Can you hear it?
No,
Do what?
no, I can't hear it. I saw it.
Why? I wonder why it's not playing. That is annoying. Oh, wait, let me see. Am I gonna have to change this every time? Is that what it is? It might be that I'm going to have to change this every time. Hold on. Let's see if this one works. Oh, it's gonna make me go back to this first. Okay. Now can you hear it?
Nope.
Now can you hear it? Maybe?
No, now I don't even see it.
Well, I know, but I meant before I paused it.
Oh no, I didn't hear it before.
Ugh, I give up. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I don't know why
Sorry.
it's not working. It's not your fault. It's just being weird. Like last time it worked, this time it didn't work. I have no idea. But that's quite annoying. I wonder why it's doing that. Oh well. I'll have to figure out why my intro isn't working. I will do that later.
This one guy says check virtual camera.
What about it?
I don't know. That's what he said.
My virtual camera's fine. See? Anyway, all right. So where do you stand on the question, Midnight?
I mean, I would think that. Well, I mean, I only know how to prove something using logic. Or then again, I should say that it doesn't just take logic, but also evidence that we use that logic to find truth. Or to prove something is true. I know that's not really the question. But can you prove something with logic? I'd say yeah, right. Just right off the bat.
I wholeheartedly
Whether
disagree. As a matter of fact, I think that's a low bar for I disagree so much. I think that's a low bar for proof.
well, I mean that's fine. I'm just saying, like,
I'll get into why in a little bit. Sterling, what about you? Do you think you can prove things with logic?
Oh, hey y'all. And I'm having some connection issues. I'm just testing this out, but I hear you good now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can prove nothing with logic or otherwise.
There's
Right.
actually a good
See,
answer.
I think people fundamentally misunderstand what logic is. First of all,
Go on.
second of all, it's a very complex thing. People have PhDs in the field of logic, right? It's not a simple thing. People learn some logical fallacies and they learn some logical structure and what makes a valid or sound argument, and they're like, oh, I can prove anything with logic. And no, you can't. Um, let's go through some of the examples I got the other day. Do you think we proved the sun? No, I don't. I think we studied the sun because the sun proved itself with its mere presence. Do I think we proved gravity? No, I think we observed gravity and we used a combination of logic and mathematics to represent its observable effects on the observable universe. I don't think we proved anything with logic. I think at best, logic can bring you to the most likely or the most probable or maybe a reasonable explanation, but I don't think it proves anything ever.
Hmm.
And I think, maybe you kind of have to get into like what type of proof you're looking for. Like, even in the judicial system, like, you don't have to have 100% proof that someone committed a murder, for example. It's just proof beyond reasonable doubt. You
But
know,
that's why they label it, because it's not proof. It's beyond a reasonable doubt, meaning a reasonable person would look at this and not have a bunch of questions, right? But that's not proof. That's just saying it's a reasonable explanation that is easy to persuade others of. It doesn't mean it's the right conclusion. How many innocent people have been locked up because proof beyond a reasonable doubt? And then if you get to civil cases, your burden of
yeah,
proof is even less. Then you just have a preponderance of evidence,
right,
but it's
right.
not proof.
Right, which is that like I've heard that preponderance of evidence thing. Does that mean like if you're 51% sure, then that's good enough? Like I don't know
Yeah, like if
exactly.
you think the evidence is stacking in that favor, then you can convict even with doubt,
Wow,
even with like a plausible doubt. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
Um,
like when you're asking for proof, I guess it's like proof to what degree I think is important to discuss. No,
no, just
yeah,
proof. Proof is proof. Screw the
okay,
human terms. Screw the
okay.
limitations on proof, like preponderance of evidence or proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That's limitations put on the idea of proof because they understand that they cannot prove it, right?
Bingo.
They cannot 100% prove it. That's why they come up with terms like proof beyond a reasonable doubt or proof by preponderance of evidence. But
But
the truth is they're limiters because proof has not been met, and it's certainly not met through some logical argument. It can be persuasive, it can be justifying, it can be justifying enough that you can persuade other people with the thing that you justified to yourself, but it is not proof, nor will it ever be.
mhm. Right, because somebody might say, I proved it because I changed your mind. I presented the evidence and you changed your mind, so therefore I proved it to you. But like you said, that doesn't mean that it's true. So
No, you
yeah,
convinced me, you persuaded me, you
mhm,
convinced me, but you did
mhm,
not prove it to me. Those are two
mhm,
different things.
right. But like on one hand, we're saying that you can't prove it, but then we're asking for can you prove anything with logic? So I guess yeah, I stick to my original answer. No, I can't prove anything, and I rarely even want to try to prove something to anyone. You know what I mean? Like I try to steer away from that.
Yeah. I don't think we can prove anything.
Right.
Except that you may have the only thing you can prove with logic is that your argument does not contain a logical fallacy. And what does that prove? That you have a sound and valid argument? Sure, but is that proof that the thing is what you say it is or how you say it is? No, it's not. That's not proof. That's not what that means. And I don't think people understand that.
Right. I was just thinking about what about like tamper proof? There's like tamper proof things and there's tamper resistant. But I think everything's probably tamper resistant is a better, phrase because, there's always a way you can tamper with something, even if they label it tamper proof.
Exactly. Blockchain is tamper resistant, but it's not foolproof.
Mm. hmm
It just means it's a lot of work. If you want to change that transaction a year ago, you've got to get through 500 transactions to get to it. But doesn't mean you can't get to it.
I think it was Todd just had an interesting comment there. Can we put that up? I can read it. If you can't prove anything, that one. If you can't prove anything, that in itself is proof that you can't self-proved. I mean,
No, that's not an interesting comment. That's
No?
actually a very shallow and facile comment from somebody who obviously doesn't understand what actual logic is.
well, maybe,
And
maybe
I never said you couldn't prove anything. I said you can't prove anything with logic alone, which is why all those examples you and your buddy kept giving me the other day didn't work, because we didn't use logic to prove the sun. The sun proved itself, and we used it. We used the study of it and logic and mathematics and testable things to come up with not proof, but evidence that this is how it works in the physics of the observable universe. Observable, meaning something measured, something seen, something mathematics can be applied to. Measured. I didn't say logic couldn't be a tool in discovering something. I said you cannot prove something with logic alone. I know you like to get off topic to try to find some gotcha moment, but try real hard to keep up this time because I'm about tired of that game. Anyway.
and maybe I misunderstood the comment. I read it really fast, and I'm not a good reader, but I thought he was saying that if you can't prove something, then there it's been proven that you can't prove something. Is what I thought he was saying.
No. You
But
can do things. I just don't think you can do it with logic alone.
okay, what else do you need?
It depends on what you're trying to prove,
Hmm.
wouldn't it? I mean, the sun exists. I can't prove to you that the sun is a star, but I can prove to you it exists. Our entire world responds to it. We respond to it. It's visible a lot of the time. Right? Now, proving that the sun is a star, well, that takes a lot more data, a lot more study, a lot more mathematics, a lot more understanding of physics and things like that, and then you can bring in the logic to prove it. Sure, but I can't prove any of that with logic alone. That doesn't mean it can't be proven.
Fancy, I just thought of this. Wouldn't the question have been better? Can you prove something with reason? Because reason and logic do go together. And there are
No,
two
again, and my answer is
Okay.
the same. My answer is the same. No, you cannot. You can point to the most probable. You can point to the
I
most
wasn't done,
likely.
by the way. I was gonna
Sorry,
say something
continue.
else. As I was trying to say, in philosophy, there's usually two schools of thoughts: the rationalists, which think you can gain understanding through rationality and logic, and the imperialists. Now, I agree with you that you can't prove something with logic and reason alone. That's why you need empiricism. Done.
Yeah, and even then, it's not absolute. I don't even know that I would consider it absolute proof, right? I mean,
Well, no, obviously, like
the speed
there's
of
still
light,
doubt.
the speed of light's a constant where we are, but that doesn't mean that that's the constant throughout everything. As a matter of fact, more recently we discovered that light, particularly light at the outer edges of a galaxy, tend to behave slightly differently than light on the inside of a galaxy. So is it 100% the same? I don't know. Is that consistent with the way we observe things from where we are? Yeah, sure. So proof in what manner
That
also?
is interesting.
Like I can use reason and I can use logic to facilitate my own understanding. What I can't do is prove that my understanding. Nix, be nice. What I can't do is prove my understanding is like the not even observable. How do I explain that? Like at best, I can justify things to myself and increase my understanding of things, but even then, I don't think I can understand enough to prove anything. I think I'm too finite in this universe.
It's a matter of perspective, really.
What was that?
It's a matter of perspective, really.
No, I mean, I think saying I can prove that with logic is like saying I can prove that with philosophy. No, you can't. You can make a compelling argument, you can make a justifying argument, you can even make a persuasive argument, but you can't prove it.
I was more teasing you anyway. Yeah. Also, you could have come on rather than, I don't know, getting.
He
Wow,
doesn't
this
want to come
comments are
on
weird.
because he doesn't want to come on. He wants to sit down there in the comments and be snide because I called him out for putting words in my mouth. This started because I made the comment
Yeah, I
that
was gonna ask to back up a little bit because I'm lost.
So I made the comment, I tire of these arguments about whether or not God exists. It can't be proven either way. And I meant in that sentence, since it was a sentence, not two sentences, I meant that he cannot be proven in these arguments, these philosophical arguments. And then I said that I found the conversations about the implications of God's existence, if he does exist, more interesting than the arguments about whether he exists. And this guy said that he could prove God. And then he went on this universalist, E equals MC squared, therefore, or not universalist, pantheist, E equals MC squared, therefore the universe is God trip. And I was like, that didn't prove anything. And he was like, did you read my argument? And I was like, yes, I read your argument, but that didn't prove anything. He's like, then why don't you address my argument? And I was like, because that's not the topic. The topic is whether that persuasive argument of yours is proof. And the answer is no. And then he kept getting mad and he was like, do you think you could prove anything with logic? And I was like, no. And I think that's a low bar for proof. So we're having this back and forth. He's going through the sun, Einstein, all of that, you know. And I keep saying no because for the reasons I just explained, it wasn't logic alone. It was a lot of other things that went into it. I don't think logic proved that in any way. So Tog jumps in after this back and forth. We've been going back and forth, me and this dude, for like 15, 20 minutes. Tog jumps in at the end of it, and then he scrolls all the way up to the beginning, and with zero context, zero anything, he makes this quantum leap into the middle of nowhere and says, ha 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 ha, Pixie said God doesn't know himself. And then just proceeded to be an ass. And I kept telling him I didn't say it, and he kept telling me I didn't even know what I said. And he kept doubling down, and he was an asshole about it. And so I tried to talk to him about it privately, and then he accused me of being emotional and had a fucking meltdown and blocked me and said everything should be public. And so I thought I would ask other people if they thought you could prove things with logic alone. And here he is, stamping his little feetsies in the chat. So you're all caught up.
I think proof is, subjective to the person listening to it, and that's why it's so difficult to prove anything.
No, evidence is subjective. Proof is proof. Somebody not being able to distinguish between the two is a them problem, not a me problem. Mm-hmm. Being convinced, being persuaded is not having been proven to. Just because you are persuaded by the evidence, just because you find the evidence compelling or acceptable, does not mean it was proven. It means it was justified to you. And people not being able to use words is not my fault. Don't put words in my mouth because you don't know definitions.
Okay. Fair enough. And I'm one of those people.
The quote ain't hell, that boy ain't right. I like talking all, but holy shit, does he get weird sometimes about certain things? Like, goddamn. This whole thing about things should be in public, not in private. Like, okay, well.
No, you're right. No, he's right. He's right. private conversations should be saved for people who can be fair and honest and somewhat trustworthy. And he proved incapable of all three the other day. So it should be public. We'll keep it that way.
I mean, fair. He's just like, hey, you know what? I don't want you to DM me anymore. I'm like, okay, well, fine. We'll keep it public. You know what I mean? If you want me to, if I have a private matter, I'll ask you publicly. It's supposed to be private, but it's. I really hate it.
No,
when he
I
gets
mean,
like
the next time I'm confused about something and I think we can handle it privately so that you don't get your feelings hurt in front of everybody or, you know, whatever, fine. No, we don't need to do that. Let's just make it public. I'll bash you right here. I don't give a fuck. Put words in my mouth again. I told him over and over. I said, I didn't say that. And he doubled down. And I said, I didn't say that. And he tripled down. And I said, Tog, I'm telling you, I didn't say that. He said, you made these arguments. I said, no, these are my arguments. And he doubled down again and again and again. And I told him, I said, Tog, if you keep putting words in my mouth, I will make you eat yours. It's not my fault he didn't believe me.
Did he upset you, Pixie?
I don't like when people put words in my mouth.
Hmm.
I don't like that. There are two things that will really bother me. Do not put words in my mouth. If you want to make fun of something I said, make fun of what I said. Don't twist it into some bizarre bullshit quantum leap into Neverland and pretend you're representing me. Don't do that shit. It pisses me off. And number two, if you're going to say something, say it to my face, because I promise people will send you screenshots all day long. People are happy to send you screenshots all day long. So just say it to my face. Those are my two things.
Okay. And is it? You know, I'm lost here, but is it possible it was a misunderstanding, or do you think that he?
No, it's not a misunderstanding. When I say repeatedly, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. These are my arguments. I didn't say that. These are my arguments. And then, if I get to a point, if you hold me in any regard at all, and you have pushed me so far that I get to a point where I say, if you do not stop putting words in my mouth, I will make you eat yours. Like, you should probably not triple down again. Because it's not fucking cute, it's not games, and nobody's having fun, right? So either you don't give a shit about me, and you disregard me, and you have zero respect for me, or you're so self-centered that your little giggle fest is the only thing that matters to you. And either way, fuck off with that noise.
So you think he was like trolling, just trying to have a laugh? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it was purposeful. I think he was trying to have a laugh, but I think he knew I was upset, and I repeatedly showed that I was, and he did not give a fuck. Well, fine, don't give a fuck, but I don't have to give a fuck about you either. Later days. I'm on my fuck it, I don't trust nobody, and I don't need no friends. I did this shit by myself, and I'm good with that. And if you can't be like a halfway decent person to me, then fuck, I don't need you. Fuck off. Don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't trust anybody. I don't care anymore. Fuck it.
There are times I wish I could be just like you. I didn't mean to make that awkward.
It's okay.
I just wish I just wish there was a way to clear things up definitively, you know?
Yeah. I'll be riding. So what's that song? Oh man, I'm fixing to get myself a strike just because I want to play some Tennessee Reaper.
Okay, well,
yeah, don't do that.
It's something about I don't need nobody. I don't need no friends. Did this shit myself. I don't follow no trends. Something about keep there ain't no leeches in my circle. Keep these vultures off my back. Yeah, I'm about that. Hey, Bond.
Hello.
No, Mac. Hey, Mac.
We meet again. Bond, sorry.
What's up, Mac? What's up, Bond?
How's it going, Sterling?
I'm just trying to catch up on what's going on. You know, it just sounds like there was some disagreement, and I just wish that, you know, it could be settled and say, hey, look, this is what I said. Let me play it back, and so therefore, you know, you're wrong, and let's move on. You know, I don't know, but I wasn't wasn't there.
He's not capable of admitting he was wrong. I tried that, and all he did was try to make it my fault and double down again. So fuck it. I don't care. I don't need no friends. I don't need nobody. I don't need no friends. I don't trust anybody anyway. It's all good. Just keep it rolling.
Okay.
Let the haters fade away. Yep.
Okay. Well, is there anything else we need to talk about on that subject, or have we ironed that out?
It's never going to be ironed out. I will probably ask 50 more people before the month is out, but I'm good with that. We don't have to continue speaking on it. I still have not been convinced.
I didn't know quite where to go.
Logic.
What do you think, Bon? Can you?
What? I'm sorry. I joined, but yeah, my mind is it might be elsewhere right now.
We were talking about whether you can prove something with logic. I say no. You cannot.
Yeah, and I was saying I just don't think you can prove anything to anybody because I don't know. It's just so difficult to know something, and also like there's probably I feel like there's a sense of arrogance in there when you are so definitive that you know something and you have the proof, and then it's convincing 100% to someone. Like I don't know that like you said, I don't know anything that is proven 100%. Like even in science and stuff, is theories and so it depends how you define proof and how you view evidence, in my opinion. And but as soon as you try to start proving stuff to people, I just feel like you look like an asshole.
I agree. I agree with that. You'd at least, if not an asshole, a very self-assured and pretentious being. Unless I say something stupid like I can prove I have 10 fingers because I can. You know? But any kind of like philosophy or whatever, I'm like, no. But that's also not using logic, right? If I can't prove to you I have 10 fingers with logic. You have to see it and maybe even touch all 10 fingers to make sure they're real or something. I don't know. But it's going to take more than logic even to prove something stupid like I have 10 fingers. You know what I mean?
There's probably someone out there in the world that would touch it, feel it, see it, and still say, I just still don't buy it. Something's off here. I don't think you got 10 fingers.
Yeah, but are you going to tell me that person who could touch it, see it, all of that, are you going to tell me that you would walk in with your hands tied behind your back, covered in gloves, and tell them with logic alone, I will prove to you I have 10 fingers? No, you won't. And if you can't prove to me that you have 10 fingers with logic, you sure as hell can't prove some universal truth with it. You're going to need more. Yeah, it's logical humans have 10 fingers. That's a logical statement. But you know what? There's deformities, there's birth defects, there's accidents, there's all kinds of shit. So no, logic does not get me to you have 10 fingers. I'm just saying, think about it. Think of how silly that is. If you cannot use logic to prove you have 10 fingers, what the hell is logic alone going to prove?
But getting back to the example of what you said, like you shouldn't have to prove what you said or didn't say with logic. I mean, you could just use, like you said, like the touching the fingers example. You could just take screenshots, scroll up and take screenshots, or play the audio back. So I guess I'm confused about well, like that specific example. You don't have to prove with logic what you said, right? So I don't know how the conversation turned to proving something with logic alone.
No, because that's how he said it. Because that's how the argument. The argument is not the same argument with Tog. It's just the argument that Tog jumped into. So I don't even know who this guy was. I can't even remember his screen name. I'd have to go back and look. That's terrible of me. I know. Whatever. I don't though. I don't remember his screen name at all. But he was saying that he could prove God. And I was saying you can't prove God. Like there's like I can't disprove him, but you can't prove him, you know. And he was saying he could. And he rolled out this what he considered a great logical argument that had to do with like E equals MC squared, therefore the universe is God. I mean, obviously it's more complicated and I'm being slightly facetious here. But you know, that kind of argument. And
Okay, I get it now.
yeah, and I was like, not only does that not prove God, but no logical or philosophical argument is going to prove God. Like it's just not. And then he was saying things like you don't think that you can prove things with logic, and I kept saying no. And he was absolutely astounded by this. And he was saying, "Well, then you can't prove anything to you." And I was like, "Yeah, things can be proven."
One
And he
example
was like,
I think you gave was the sun.
"Yeah,
Or something.
the sun." Exactly. Well, he gave that example. He's like, "So,
Okay.
do you think we proved the sun?" And I was like, no, I think we studied the sun because the sun proved itself, like it's there existing, and we wanted to know how and why. Like, I don't think we proved it, you know? And then he was talking about like Einstein, and I was like, okay, he used logic, but he used math and he used measurements and he used all sorts of stuff, right? So he didn't prove anything with logic. He used a lot of different tools to show evidence that something exists in our or interacts in this manner in our physical universe, right? Something that can be measured. And they were just absolutely astounded that I didn't think logic could prove something. So I thought I'd ask more people, do you think you can prove something with logic?
Is that Todd that joined us?
Yep.
What's up, Todd? I'm glad you joined. You're needed in this conversation.
Yeah, sorry. I
Is
was
he though? I didn't think he was needed in the first one.
eating.
You know what? I might have spoke out of turn. I'm just interested in what you had to say. I should phrase it that way.
No, I was just getting food real quick. I believe he was talking about how consciousness was the connecting component into what made like the E equals MC square relatable, and it was a known, a universal known aspect because, again, with the pantheism, we're self-interacting, and because of our consciousness, the universe is self-conscious to know itself. Thus, because it knows itself, it is well aware of being God. It's logically sound in its own framework. You can still deny it, but it's logically sound within its own
Nobody
framework.
said, again, see, this is what happens when you just keep inserting into conversation in order to derail onto something that's not even the topic, much like you did at the first time when you were putting words in my mouth.
It wasn't it wasn't about putting words in your mouth. The whole consensus was about existence, and an existent being that's self-aware would know that it's existence. The fact that you put the word existence in the part of the thing, the first thing that
You're
was
gonna
mentioned,
stop interrupting me,
that
or I'm gonna
is
put
it.
you backstage. Don't interrupt me, or I'll keep you back there. So again, I said that before he made his argument. So you saying that my statement somehow applied to the argument that came after is laughable and reaching. So no. And second, that I told him, my response to him was, if you're going to go with that argument, A, you have to first define God. You can't just label something God, say it exists, therefore universe equals God. And I said, B, on top of that, you haven't proven it. You have simply justified it to yourself, and it may be persuasive and it may be compelling, and you may be able to use it to justify it to other people, but you have not proven anything. And I still stand by that. He did not prove anything. Nowhere did I say God could not prove something. I said he could not, and he did not, Tog. And I would have gone down that. I would have gone and explained his logical argument had it had anything to do with the topic I'm trying to have, but it didn't, because I don't care how he thinks he justified the universe's God to himself. That is not my topic. My topic, Tog, is whether something can be proven through logic alone. If you are here to participate in that, please do so. But we're not going to rewind the clock. I'm not going to argue some dude's philosophy.
And again, and
you are not going to put words in my mouth tonight.
Because it's something's logically sound within its own framework. It's logically sound and it's provable. 2 + 2 = 4 without anything being present is still logically sound and provable.
No, it's that you're using math. Just because it's logically sound to say that the math works, it doesn't mean that you logically proved the math. The math proved itself, Tog. Second of all, that's why you're using it as evidence to begin with. Otherwise, it would be circular reasoning, would it not? Second of all, I didn't say that it couldn't be a tool used to prove things. I said it itself does not prove things.
When you're asking for proof, proof is used for math. So
No, I'm not playing word games with you. He's just gonna fucking derail at this point. I'll let him back in a second. He just anything for a fucking win. Let's twist it into the most dishonest thing possible, just so I can pretend I'm smart and whatever. Hadn't even addressed the topic yet, though. The actual topic. Just pointing that out. But tell me, Tog, give me an example. And don't say it's logically sound within itself. It's logically sound that people have 10 fingers. But I know people that have 6 fingers on one hand and 5 on the other. So they have 11 fingers. I also know people missing a finger. So they have 9 fingers. And some people have 7 fingers. Just because it's logically sound doesn't mean it proves anything.
Again, with logic, using 2 + 2, even if you have 2 objects, they will still equal out to be 4.
What does measurements of the physical universe have to do with philosophical logic being proof?
It goes back to the same
It
thing I
doesn't.
said about
It
the
no, it
existence.
doesn't.
If it is
It
something to talk
doesn't.
about, it can be talked about. Otherwise, we're just talking hypotheticals.
No, it
I have a
doesn't,
question.
because here's the difference again. He said, did we prove the sun? No, we did not prove the fucking sun. The sun is there. It exists. It proved its damn self, and we study it because it's there. So can your philosophical argument prove God to me? No. Does that mean God cannot prove himself? No. Does that mean God does not know himself? No. It means your crappy philosophical argument cannot prove God to me. It means in order to prove God, you are going to have to do more than justify God.
Right, but
Those are
the
two
thing,
separate things.
one, it doesn't matter whether you're convinced of the argument or not. The fact that God would still be there is its own self-existing thing. It's its own self-existing thing. The fact that it exists is the only way we can logically comprehend it. Otherwise, we're just talking hypotheticals.
I have a question.
And I'm not
So-
trying to
Nobody
be.
said
I'm sorry.
understand.
I'm not
Nobody
trying
said
to win. I'm not trying to have
No,
a win
yes,
or
you
anything.
are.
It's a way to
Yes,
have
you are, because
projections.
I said, yes, you are, because I already made these statements the other day. The other day, I said, you can have compelling logical arguments. You can have persuasive logical arguments. You can have logical arguments that justify your belief. You can have these things, but these things are not proof. And you
Question.
still bent over backwards to put words in my mouth, Tog. So what is it about?
If I may, I just wanted to okay, so what I'm hearing, and this is new to me, so I want to be fair to everyone. What I'm hearing is, Pixie's questioning whether or not you can prove anything with logic. And I believe Todd gave the example that 2 + 2 = 4, and that's
That's
just
not made from logic alone. That's made from
But-
measurement,
but-
observation, and interaction. I
Pixie,
said you couldn't. That's not logic proving itself. You're measuring something outside of logic. Otherwise, if you're saying logic proves logic, then you're just using circular reasoning and you're making a logical fallacy, and that doesn't make sense.
Like, I was spinning for a minute there, but I was gonna ask Todd, like, or ask Pixie too, like, what else is needed in 2 + 2 = 4 to prove it, like, without logic? Because Todd seems to think it's logic alone, but you're saying there's more.
No.
I'm just,
How did we prove that 2 + 2 was logical to begin with? Why is it logical?
I would say
Because we
demonstration.
have because we have things that are demonstratable,
Yeah.
things that are measurable, things that are countable. Because we use more than just logic to prove it. It's not proven by logic. That doesn't make any sense. Logic, you can use logic to say that it's sound, but it wasn't proven by logic. It's a description of things around us and the way we interact with it.
Todd, what do you think about that? That the logic alone of 2 + 2 = 4 is not good enough. You would have to also demonstrate it to prove it to somebody. What do you think about that?
Again, it's the same thing that I said about just talking about hypotheticals, which is the same things archaeologists use to guess the age of where they would find certain fossils, and that's again what type of bedrock it would be. And lo and behold, they went and they found with their educated guesses, which is logic, and the logic proved the educated guess without the evidence present where the evidence would be, because the evidence was, like Pixie is saying, self-existent. It was discovered, but it does just because it was discovered didn't mean it was already there.
No, educated guesses sometimes pan out and sometimes they don't, but those educated guesses are made based off of previously established evidence, and they don't know that it's going to pan out until they find it. And just because sometimes you find it and sometimes you don't find it doesn't mean that that same logic is going to be the right answer every single time you use it. It won't. Sometimes you'll win, and sometimes those clues point you to a place that comes up empty. It just happens. It happens that way. Why? Because it's not a foolproof formula.
Yeah, but 2 + 2 = 4 is.
Oh my gosh. No kidding, but that isn't because logic. 2 + 2 = 4 isn't because logic.
If we couldn't recognize the objects being numbered and the categories of 1, 2, 3, 4 and their placement of said objects, or that each object could fit into any 1, 2, or 3, or 4 position, then we wouldn't be able to, without the logic and our cognitive ability. Those facts might still be the same, but there wouldn't be any reason.
Logic is a tool we use to describe our observations. The things we are not observing are not there because logic. Tog, you don't make sense. And if you really think that this thing is logic because logic, then it is circular reasoning, and I'm not sure I can help you with logic.
You can say it's both logical to say there are 4 sticks there and there are just sticks. Both are logically true. You can't prove that there are 4 sticks there if the concept of numbers don't exist. There are just sticks.
Sure, but
logically there are still 4. Sorry, go ahead, Sterling.
It sounds like you're also including the observation that there are 4, which, an observation is more than just logic. It sounds like, so what I'm hearing is that maybe there is a demonstration that's also needed. The logic can get you there, but it's not definitive until you demonstrate it. I don't know. It's a good question.
Again, back to the 10 finger scenario. It is reasonable to believe that I have 10 fingers because most people, the majority of people have 10 fingers. So is it reasonable to believe I have 10 fingers? Yes. Is it a justified belief to believe that this random average person on the internet has 10 fingers? Yes. It is a reasonable, justified belief. It is compelling. It is persuasive. You can probably convince the mass majority of people that I have 10 fingers. And you know what? There's a 98% chance that you would be right because logic. But the reason logic doesn't prove anything is because I could have had a birth defect. I could have 11 fingers. I could have smashed one in a factory and got it amputated, and I could only have 9 fingers. I could have 7 fingers. I could have got my hand chopped
I
off,
believe that's
and
the
I could have
presentist
5
fallacy
fingers.
or something
right?
like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Logic can bring you to a reasonable. Hold
Wait.
on. Logic on its own, logic can bring you to a reasonable conclusion, a justifiable conclusion, and even a persuasive conclusion. But logic on its own does not prove anything. You must then have something to demonstrate and or measure.
Kind of agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, but logic's demonstratable by understanding it.
No.
I think it's logical to assume the
I mean, I
person has
just
10
demonstrated that by you guys understanding that.
And I just demonstrated that understanding it's logical that people have 10 fingers doesn't prove that I have 10 fingers. If you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you.
Sorry, could you say that again? I was getting a copy paste. Oh, it's too long.
Again, I think you have a low bar for proof. I have admitted it can be a justified belief, it can be a well-reasoned belief, it can be a logical belief, it can be a persuasive and compelling belief.
That's fair.
It can be the most plausible belief, but you cannot prove it without then having something to demonstrate and measure. Period.
No, that's fair. You could call it a low bar approach. I just call it the minimalist approach, in
But
which
it's not
people often overlook the most minimalist things, and they want to go for the extraordinary when really all you need is just the
No,
the
it's
minimum.
not extraordinary. I have said
That's what I'm saying. You're looking for a maximum, and I'm settled on with the minimum. You're saying minimum isn't enough evidence, but
No,
the
then
minimum
I'm
is
saying-
enough evidence. But you're looking for
then I'm
maximum
saying
evidence.
I'm saying you're using the word proof wrong. You can say you have what you believe to be justifying evidence. Sure. You can say you have compelling, justifying, reasonable evidence. You can say all of that and I'll be like, "Fine. Yep. I agree." But it's not proof. And trying to parade it as proof is just pretentious in my opinion. Because the reason we have terms like proof beyond a reasonable doubt and proof as preponderance by evidence, the reason we have these terms is because that we understand we cannot actually prove it. We cannot prove it. The reason that we come up with these terms is because we understand that we are limiting the idea of what proof should be. So it's not proof. It's justifying evidence. You can even claim I don't even think you can claim it's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. But I think you could claim preponderance of evidence personally. Other people will say you can say proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's fine. That's not my personal opinion. We can get picky there. But I think it's pretty pretentious to call it proof. I do.
Like I said, when we're adding up the equations to whatever the factor, if the answer is sound, then it's its own proof. Whether or not you accept it or a thing in reality, that's a different story.
If the answer is sound, it is possible and plausible. and it is logical, it does not mean it is or that it is proof.
No, and again, as I said, if the thing's existence is in question, then yes, by necessity, it would already have to exist.
That's
Wow.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand that. What do you
If
mean?
I
there's-
ponder unicorns,
Fact,
should
yeah,
I
it goes-
expect,
it
should
go-
I
it
expect to
goes-
see one the next time I run
It
through a
goes
forest?
into
Should I ponder Peter
presuppositional-
Pan? Should I
I
ponder
hate
Peter
to dig
Pan and
into
clap?
presuppositional arguments.
Should I
but it's-
ponder Peter Pan and clap my hands? Will Tinkerbell appear?
Yeah, like what about the unicorn example, Jog? What do you mean? Like, I want to make sure I understand. If I ponder a unicorn, it's real to some degree, or like actually real? What do you mean?
I guess you could say the misinterpretation or understanding of what a unicorn is representative within the animal kingdom and not as like a mythical beast is first the problem. And so imagine the fact that the unicorn is often seen as something like a small rhino or a young rhino.
Santa's real. You heard it here first. We all pondered him as a child, and now we know it's because Santa exists. Thank you, Tog, for that beautiful lesson in logic.
Yeah. 10 is based off someone real. You could say that it's in that case. It all depends on the proof that you're
And
using
Rudolph?
for that.
And Rudolph lands on your roof every year. Thank you. Just a PSA. Be on your best behavior so you don't get coal in your stockings. It's a few months away.
Todd, did you put words in Pixie's mouth?
I don't think so. I think she took it as me putting words in her mouth.
Yes, he did. And I repeatedly told him he did, and he repeatedly doubled down. And then
See, she just
and
says
then-
that
and
because I
then-
can't
and
stop
then
what she
today-
thinks.
And then today, he tried to justify it by applying it to an argument that the person made after I made the statement he supposedly. Okay, first of all, me saying that these arguments about God existing isn't going to prove God or disprove God, and that I find it more interesting to have conversations about the implications of God, to which Todd goes, 20 minutes later, by the way, goes, ha 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 ha. Pixie said God doesn't know himself.
You
and
know
I
what?
said- I did not say that. And he said, oh, you made this claim. And I said, no, these are the
Yeah.
claims I made. And he just kept going and going and going. And he kept going. And I was clearly not happy about this. And he wouldn't explain himself at all. He just kept saying that I said it over and over again. And finally, I told him if he kept putting words in my mouth, I was going to make him eat his.
Speak on that, Todd, because that's the part I was confused about. Like, was it a
Yeah.
misunderstanding, or were you trolling, or what?
No, I just saw a comment. I thought it was funny because of the word of existence. Honestly, that's what it was. Because if a God knows of its own existence and that it is God, then it
Nobody
would
said
be
God couldn't
proof to
prove
itself.
God, Tog. There you go with your quantum leaps into nowhere. Nobody
No
said
one
God
had
couldn't
to.
prove
No one
God.
had to. No one had to.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
make-
You just made
Yeah,
a
no one-
quantum leap
yeah,
into
because-
nowhere to
because
put words
be-
in my mouth. To put words in my mouth. Thank you.
One,
because you
it
disregarded
wasn't-
the half of
it
the
wasn't even.
sentence.
It wasn't even about you. So you're not even
disregarded-
letting me
you
speak now. You're not even letting me
disregarded- you
explain
dis-
my side.
No,
You're just gonna
you
keep assuming my
disregarded
side.
because you keep
Oh, okay,
disregarding
fine.
because you keep disregarding the half of the sentence that said in these arguments. Meaning it didn't apply to God proving
You know what,
God.
show me-
Obviously,
show me
if you
that
can read
screenshot.
context clues,
Show me that screenshot. Bring up the
It-
receipt.
it said, I tire
No, I don't want to
of
see what it
these
says because now
arguments.
when you're talking about that, that's logical proof. Because now you're relying on logic. I'm asking for the evidence.
I'm getting
no,
the
I'm not gonna listen
screenshot.
to your
Don't worry.
logic.
I'm getting this. I have the screenshot. Don't worry about it. I'm getting the screenshot. Don't worry about it.
And that's what I was saying.
Screenshots too.
I
And that's
know.
what I was saying from the beginning. Like, this could be easily, cleared up. We could just, especially if it was in text.
He
but-
sent me the screenshot where he says, I even read it. I read it on my last stream, actually. So hold
Understood.
on, let me go to my photos. And this is what I want you to keep in mind. He says, and this is before the pantheist makes his universal argument, by the way. Before. This is before anything. Photos. Where is it? Why can't I find it?
You know, you could just go to Ape's video and go to the side chat there. His side chat's still live.
Blah, blah, blah. I'll just go over here in my photos again. It's
I
in my
think the claim,
photos somewhere.
the claim was that Tog said, if I'm not mistaken, Tog said that Pixie said that God doesn't know himself, and that's what
Yeah.
kind of. Okay. All right, yeah, that could be easily cleared up. Like Tog, or are you denying that you said that, or is it just about whether or not Pixie said it?
No, I don't think I would deny it. I thought it was funny.
Okay, okay, but like Pixie didn't actually say that. You were just interpreting that off of some other stuff she said. Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to
Just off
understand.
the one screenshot. No, I didn't even see the other thing that was posted there because, again, the whole top and live messages,
Okay.
which Ape even pointed out. I didn't even see that second comment.
Yeah, I guess I'm just confused, trying to get to the bottom of it.
It's in the screenshot that I sent her. I didn't even notice it until I took the screenshot. But I didn't make comment on it because, again, it wasn't even anything to make comment on because that wasn't anything that I was addressing. It was the
Okay,
first
here
thing.
it is.
Can we see it?
It says, I tire of the argument of the existence of God. It cannot be proven nor disproven, meaning in these arguments, context clues, same sentence. And then the second sentence says, if God exists, the arguments about the implications are so much more interesting. That's what I said. There you go. Those were my words.
And is that where you derived your comment, Todd, from those words?
Sorry, I didn't know I was.
That's the
not muted.
screenshot he sent me to justify it. Yes.
What'd you say, Todd?
Like, yeah, from the first part, whatever she's talking about constitutes about in human standards, I still find an affront to that, considering that Jesus himself was human. So even logically in that entailment, it still would be inaccurate. And again, that's only if you believe. That's only if you believe within the framework. I'm not.
Is Jesus on YouTube having these arguments? Is Jesus in the room with us? Is Jesus arguing right here with us about the existence of God? Huh? Is there somebody in this room that can walk on water and raise Lazarus for me? Why are you bringing nonsense into this to justify your crap like you did the other day? Just own it.
I can't help it. I'm a Christian, and this is how I see things, and it pisses you off.
I think the specific comment that pissed her off is like, it's still, I'm so confused. Like, you said that Pixie said God doesn't know himself. Why did you say that?
It was based on, it was because of the whole proven or disproven thing. And I'm just like, funny, how could it not be proven or disproven when he would know of himself? And it was just based off of that single thing. It's just like, that doesn't seem logically possible. And again,
Well,
What
that
happened?
was interesting.
What happened? Did Pixie put him backstage?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, but she's
Or not?
stayed
she
muted.
was
No, this is
muted.
back.
She was muted. So I think she was
Yeah.
saying stuff. And
Oh,
yeah.
No, I was just tired of hearing that.
okay. All right.
First of all,
Just going to say the Holy Spirit could also be here saying all those things and could do all those things too, Pixie.
Okay, now I am going to say something. I don't care if you believe the Holy Spirit is here or not. You cannot, that is another thing you have yet to prove or demonstrate. So what you hear may not be what I hear, and I don't care what you're hearing right now. Okay? Nobody said that God cannot prove himself or any of that bullshit that you want to project onto it. I said that people could not prove or disprove God in these arguments about his existence, and that the more interesting conversations were about the implications if he did exist And even if the second sentence, even if you could not be bothered to read the second sentence because, oh my God, a
It
whole
was
nother
top
sentence.
streaming live lesson.
Even if you couldn't be bothered to read the second sentence because, oh my God, a whole second sentence, the context clues of these arguments was in the sentence you did read.
Okay, well, everything I'm saying still goes into that second part of the
No,
entailments
it
of that
doesn't.
question.
And you're being
You're
ridiculous.
okay. You're not accepting the bare minimum, which is fine. You don't have to. It's still there.
The bare minimum is a justification, not a proof. Just because you can't tell definition.
It's proof.
It's not proof, and your inability to grasp definitions is a you problem. You're not going to yell at me like that again. Now you can either own what you did, or you can go cry on your own damn stream. Am I clear? Because we're going to move on now, and you can participate or not.
It's proof it exists.
Okay, goodbye.
Come on.
Anyway, how's everyone else doing?
Well, just relaxing, I guess. Yeah.
What you been up to tonight?
Oh, nothing much, just staying out of trouble, or at least trying to.
Is that difficult for you?
Yes, it is, apparently.
You find yourself in trouble a lot?
And that's not even trying.
And like, what do you mean? What do you mean trouble? Like with the law? You mean here on YouTube with your friends?
No,
or-
on YouTube, it's more of a joke, but don't worry about it.
Okay. I didn't know. I've been under a rock for a while, so I'm not aware of any trouble.
Yeah, you've been under a very expensive rock.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I'm doing all right. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Pixie.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Sterling.
Yeah, my friend, his name's Anthony Greeno, and he has a channel called True Crime Investigates. And I was on his channel earlier. He asked me to come on, and so I just got the live streaming bug. So you started streaming right after him. So yeah, here I am.
I'm sorry, but that's too much sour cream.
What happened?
Nothing. I was just reading a comment. Toggle left.
I couldn't see the comments. Sorry.
He said too much sour cream, LOL, because he thought it was cute. But I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I don't start shit, but I don't take shit. And if you can't own your shit, I'm not the person you want to be talking to. I'm done. I'm done with all of it, and I don't care anymore. That's where I'm at.
Well, you said you wanted to change the subject, so like, I was just gonna throw this out there, and I don't know, maybe I'm sure it's been discussed, but I've, like I said, been under a rock. I was on there on my friend's channel talking about that Charlie Kirk thing, and I didn't know if that's something you want to talk about.
I think what happened to Charlie Kirk is awful.
Right.
But I think the reaction to it is equally as awful.
Yeah, and I'm sure this has all been discussed. So, like I said, I'm just new to it somewhat. But like, yeah, it was awful. But I heard there was some people like that were happy about it or celebrating it, quote unquote. But like, who are these people? Is that true? I'm not saying it's not, but I just haven't.
Of course there were, and it's sick. It's sick and it's twisted because some people suck. There were a group of people who celebrated that state senator being shot in Michigan. There are people who celebrated Nancy Pelosi's husband being attacked with a hammer and made fucking Halloween costumes out of it. People suck.
Right.
People fucking suck.
Were like anybody like in the media? Did they celebrate, or just we're talking about like people on the Twitter?
No, I saw a lot of people saying that they were celebrating. Well, I did see people say terrible things, like they didn't have any empathy. They didn't feel sorry about it. Like they didn't feel any empathy. I saw one person, just a random YouTuber, say something like "no value lost," and I thought that was heartbreaking. I'm like, man, his kid watched that, and however you feel about him, like that's really fucked up, you know. But But I also saw like people who quoted him and said, I don't agree with this message, but he said this, and I hope this shows why I don't agree with this message. Like, they were being fired. Or,
Oh, really?
yeah.
You talking
Or,
about like Jimmy Kimmel?
no, like, there was this person, she posted something, she took, maybe she didn't do it the best way. I agree she didn't do it the best way, but I don't think she was, like, saying awful things about him the way, or celebrating his death the way they said she was. Like, she had said something like, she had taken his quote when somebody asked him about, like, gun violence and stuff like that. He had said, that, like, it happens and some people die, but that it was an acceptable cost for the freedom to for retaining the freedom to bear arms.
Mm.
Something along those lines. Not exactly, but that sentiment, And she had quoted that, and she had said that what had happened to him was a tragedy and awful, and this is why, like, we should consider gun reform and things like that. And they were like, oh, she was celebrating his death and hating on him. And I
Yeah.
don't really think she was, So I don't know. Like, like, there definitely were people doing it, but I don't think everybody that was blamed for it was doing it. And I don't agree with the whole, like, half the nation has blood on their hands every time some nut job decides to go insane.
It was
I don't
very
know.
impactful. Like, that's what I gotta say. Like, I didn't know anything about him before, and I didn't know who he was. Then he dies, and all of a sudden,
You never heard of him?
no, I never heard of him. Like, I don't really look into politics that much.
But wow, that surprises me because like on these channels on YouTube, it seems like it's talked about a lot. But okay, yeah. I mean, okay, go on. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, like I didn't know anything about him. Like, I didn't run into any content about him. It just it was whatever. But then that happens, and it affected me more than it should have. Like everyone else, I don't.
Also,
It's just so messed up.
it is. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. And
Dude, Sterling, you know Mr. Medica, right?
Oh, I
Mr.
accidentally saw the close-up. I accidentally saw the close-up one where it looks like, I kid you not, it looked like, like a crash dummy in a car wreck.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
like,
looked
yeah,
like that if the car was invisible. Oh
yeah.
my god. Like, I can still see it in my head, and it's awful. It's so awful. I didn't mean to see it.
I
Midnight.
was actually asking Sir. Yeah. Wow, I can't fucking talk. I was actually
You asked
asking
me something,
Sterling a question.
Mr. Who you said? I couldn't hear what you said.
Mr. Medica.
I don't think I know that person. No.
Okay, well, he's always been a staunch atheist, or maybe more. He didn't really care about the matter. But Charlie Sheen, God damn it, I said Sheen. Charlie Kirk's death affected him so much. He and his wife became Christians.
How dare you? How dare you mix up those two? How dare you, sir?
Dude, I don't fucking know. I want to say Kirk, but Charlie Sheen always comes out.
Charlie Sheen is cool. Okay, Charlie Kirk was the opposite of that. Like, he was the biggest dork. Like, and I think the only bigger loser than Charlie Kirk is someone who thinks they want to get famous by killing a loser. So it's horrible. And I was talking to this girl last night, chatting with this girl, and I told her, I was like, I'm going to be on this podcast tomorrow, and what do you think about this whole thing? And she was like,
Wait.
well, you know what? I'm sorry.
Do you really think Charlie Kirk is a loser?
I do. Yes.
Well, then you and I have different standards for what a loser means.
Okay, and that's fine. Like, I mean, he's a loser. He's a dork. Huh?
Well, what a loser is rather than means. I figured I'd correct that.
Well, sure. I mean, we can quibble on that. I think he's just a dorky dude who was a puppet and a mouthpiece for people pushing an agenda, billionaires. I don't think a lot of his what he was saying was necessarily his own thoughts, and that's what I mean as a loser. Like, I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, you could have just said brainwashed and be done with that. Calling him
Well,
a
but
loser,
it wasn't just that though. He was making money off of it, and of the things he was saying. So, and like I said, I don't know if he was brainwashed. I think that he might have just been a mouthpiece and saying whatever they told him to. But anyway, I was talking to this
Not
girl.
everything he said was trash, but anyway.
No, not everything. No, I didn't. No, and I didn't mean to imply that everything you said was trash. But I was talking to this girl, and she said, "Yeah, from what I've seen about Charlie Kirk, he got what he." And then she didn't want to finish her sentence, and I was like, "No, go ahead. He got what he deserved." And she was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Well, I've been under a rock, so tell me what did he say that you feel like warranted that? Like, show me some vile shit that he said." And she looked on her phone for like 10 minutes, but she couldn't really produce anything. And I just wonder, like, what the hell was she gonna find that would justify his murder? It's crazy.
I mean, look. A lot of people have said that he was a racist, Nazi, sexist, or whatever. All the clips I've seen, showed that he was none of that. All right, he would actually talk to anyone. He would actually talk to anyone from all political sides, from all religions, sexual, whatever. You know what I mean? And he treated them with respect, and they treated him with respect. Like he wasn't the person he was making. People made him out to be. At least from the clips I saw. Maybe there's clips I'll say where he says, "Well, I won't say. Well, I won't say."
I
Well,
don't
won't
think
say
he's
it.
who. I don't think he was what either side made him out to be.
There.
Well, what I did see, like especially leading up to his death, what I did like, if I'm gonna say something positive, was that he started asking tough questions. Like I saw an interview with Ben Shapiro where he was pressing him on whether or not Israel was committing genocide. And but from what I understand, that was an evolution because, like, allegedly, Turning Point USA was funded by Jewish billionaires pushing an Israeli agenda. And as soon as he started, opening up the floor to dialogue about Israel and Gaza and all that stuff, um, he started asking questions about it. And from what they say, that didn't make him very popular with the people funding him. But yeah. So I do appreciate him asking tough questions and engaging with people on campus. From what I saw, like I have no problem with that. That's noble, I think.
Honestly, nobody deserves to be shot in the neck. To be shot in the neck enough in daylight, in front of the one child who was running towards him when she heard the shot. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Is
Uh,
there is there no one you wish death on, Midnight?
I don't wish death on anyone. I wish irrelevance on many people.
what she said.
Okay.
Like, even if I was in a ship and Putin was drowning, I would still save him. I'd kick him in the face a few times on the way up. I'd make sure there were some handcuffs waiting for him, but I'd save him. You know? With some stilettos. Anyway.
Okay, if you had a choice between Putin and Hitler, who would you pick? Both or none?
They'd both have cuffs, so.
Yeah, well, you can only say one.
That's not true.
Well, for this scenario, it was, but whatever.
If I could only save one, which one would I save? I guess Putin, probably. Well, I don't know. I might have a better case for getting Hitler thrown in a loony bin with padded walls somewhere.
I heard Trump said something interesting about Ukraine recently about how he kind of doubled down on that whole intervention and how Ukraine should start taking back their territory from Russia. And it sounded like he was just, escalating this whole thing and trying to draw it out, as opposed to striking a deal with Putin. But I think like maybe the deal that Putin would want would be considered a defeat for Trump, and he can't have that. Or maybe like I think really the whole game is to stay engaged for as long as possible because we profit off of that. So
Putin wants the USSR back. There's no if, ands, or buts. People can say all this stuff about he's liberating Donbass, he's this, he's that. No, the fuck he isn't. He ceded Donbass. The vote that he told the people they were going to have, they didn't have. They didn't the ballot didn't have all the options that they said it was going to have. I've spoken to people from there whose mother was in a refugee camp because of the stuff going on. And she was having the power of attorney in America try to keep her foreign exchange kids here longer because she didn't want them to go back home because of this mess. He wants the USSR back. He said as much. He interchangeably calls Russia the USSR. He's talked about his favorite philosopher who said that like the greatest travesty of the 20th century was the dismantling of the USSR. I don't care what people say. He's not going to stop with the Donbass region. He's not going to stop with Ukraine.
Okay, so that's what Putin wants. What do we want out of this whole thing? What does Trump want? I guess.
Who the fuck knows? Trump wishes he was a dictator, I think.
I just found it interesting because I thought Trump was on record saying, "Oh, I'll strike a deal in 24 hours. You know, before I'm even like sworn in, I'll have a deal for peace." And then all of a sudden, now he's talking about ramping things up. And
Well,
I'm like,
to be fair, he did walk that back. He said, in all honesty, like I thought that would be the easiest one because Putin and I had a friendly relationship, but it's been really disappointing. It's been really difficult. So he did say that.
"Oh shit, I'm so sorry, Pixie. Could you repeat that? I was spending. You said he walked it back. How? I beg your pardon."
He said something about like he thought that one was going to be so easy because he had some sort of like friendly relationship with Putin, but he was disappointed and that like it was a lot harder than he thought. That it was difficult or something.
Yeah, I wondered what that means though, because to be sure, Putin has conditions that if we met them, like it would, or if Ukraine met them, it would be all over. But I think that those conditions just aren't favorable to Trump. It seems like a big switch in his position, but
Well, what Putin wanted the last time they had talks, Putin demanded not just to keep the Donbass, but to and all of the land he's already laid claim to and told the Russian people that he already laid claim to, including territories he's not even holding at the moment. And Ukraine's not going to agree to that. Like he's not like there's nothing reasonable there. And I don't think he wants to be reasonable at all.
and you might be right, and I don't think that the U.S. wants to find his proposal reasonable because they want to perpetuate this war. I think both of those statements could be true.
I don't have any idea. I actually think that the US would be invested in Ukraine coming out on top of this.
What do you mean now?
I think the US would have an investment in Ukraine coming out on top.
An investment, but I feel like we've already profited.
Historically. Well, I don't mean monetarily.
No.
I just meant like through like typical principles and allyships and things like that.
Some people are saying that they want a full blown war with Russia. What do you think about that?
I think war is the ugliest atrocity committed by humans. And I absolutely loathe war. And I despise how cavalierly humans treat that concept and how disposable we treat people. It's all greed a lot of the times, and that whole concept just breaks my heart. And if not doing it in defense, I don't know how one justifies it. I just don't. But Russia has already said they're at war with us. Hey, Maud.
Yeah, I've heard people like Lindsey Graham talk about how he's always pushing for war, first of all. And he was talking about how that it would come to a full blown war with Russia. I wish I had his quote, but which is sickening, you know. I feel like the deep state is pushing for that. That's what they want. I don't know why, but I feel like Lindsey Graham also accepts a lot of money from Boeing, and like the deep state defense or whatever. I feel like,
They all,
yeah,
don't they also? I mean, Manchin's invested in coal. I mean, he makes more money from his portfolio heavily invested in coal than he ever did from being a senator.
I just don't see what else, what other. I don't see why you would want World War III if it wasn't like for money or greed or something, or somebody told you to come out and say it. I don't understand why anyone would want that.
I don't either.
Got to be money.
I don't know. Didn't we already increase what we're given to the military by like a lot?
Oh yeah, always.
Only every time we pass a budget, right?
hmm I just wonder how much those companies, Boeing and Raytheon, give to his like super PAC or whatever.
I don't know, but it's both sides, right? Like it doesn't matter who's in power. It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat majority, a Republican majority. It always passes, and it always passes giving the military more and more and more.
Oh right, yeah, that seems like what both sides can agree on. Both sides agree on is trash. It's awful.
It just hurts my heart. I think it's the most atrocious thing we do, and I don't. It just seems we will never, ever, ever evolve past it.
I was just bringing it up because it seems like a switch of position, and there's been a couple of those recently, like over the Epstein files. It seems like that was a big switch in position too. Like it seemed like even Lindsey Graham, go back to Lindsey Graham. There's quotes have been saying release it. Everybody wanted to release the files until
Yeah, but
why was that?
it's always going to be that way. Always. Okay, the anti-vax used to be a far left thing. Did you know that? The
Yeah,
anti-vax crowd used to be the far left hippies.
Jill Stein,
And
and I know, yeah, she's part of that.
right, right, and now the lefties are like, "Yay, vax," and the right is like, "I don't know about this." And and you would look at it, and it happens so quickly sometimes too. Like when the business rights fights were happening, right? And they the when the baker didn't want to make the wedding cake for the gay couple, the right was like, "Yay, business rights! Yeah, you can't fuck with business rights." And the left was like, "That's discrimination." But then when that restaurant said that they didn't want to serve Sarah Huckabee because she made too many of the staff uncomfortable, and stuff like that, then the right was like, "Ah, discrimination," and the left was like, "Ah, business rights." And I'm like, "See, like nobody actually has any principles, you know?"
Yeah, and like I feel like this is worse because I feel like he ran on some of these policies. You know, like he got elected because of some of these policies, big ones, and he's just done an about face all of a sudden. And I don't see how his base is could be pleased with that. And in fact, I've heard a lot of GOP people say that they're not. Um, Specifically in the Epstein thing and the Russia war thing. Also, I heard pushback on how after the Charlie Kirk thing, somebody, Bondi or somebody, wanted to introduce hate speech legislation. Is
Yeah.
that true? Did you hear that?
Yes. Hey, captive. Yes. Yes, I did hear that.
I heard there was a lot
That
of pushback on it, like immediately, and they turned around on that too. They're like, "Oh, forget that." They
I
just
don't
abandoned
know.
it like 5 hours later.
Well, how are you gonna be like the free speech side? You have to accept free speech even when you don't agree with it, and then be like, "We're gonna charge people for hate speech."
Yeah, that's what's so weird about it. When you have people like Alex Jones in your party, how why would anyone in the Trump administration be talking about hate speech? It was just so odd, so weird to me. I feel like that's the one of the things we really got right in this country, because I guess what is it, like Europe and parts of Europe and the UK have hate speech legislations, for example. Other places
Oh my
do.
god, I saw this video and I need to verify it. Don't grain of salt, everyone, because I have not verified this. So grain of salt. But I saw this video where somebody in the UK had they had posted some comment on some like social media or whatever, you know? And cops literally walked up in his house in the middle of the night, like 2 fucking a.m. to arrest him for
Ain't
some
that
like
sincere?
hate. Yeah. I was like, the fuck is this?
I'd like to hear someone justify, like, justify that hate speech laws and how it's a good thing. It seems so bizarre to me, pretty arbitrary and subjective, and it just depends on what if offends you, and that's hate speech or something. It just seems so vague that I started thinking a lot about free speech and the Second Amendment, and what because you can't say anything you want, right? Like you can't make threats, for example. Like it's illegal to threaten someone, right? But I was questioning, should it be? Should it be? Because are they not just
What do
words?
you mean?
And and words aren't violence, in my opinion. Even if they're threats of violence, I don't think that should be a crime. I don't know. What do you think?
Um, I mean, I think it depends. But I think in some ways it's almost necessary though, because you can't it can't be encouraged because there are certain things that have to be taken seriously. Because when we haven't taken them seriously, really bad things have happened. Like so many times that's why it becomes a law, right? Like it wasn't like they were like free speech, but don't threaten anyone. It was like free speech, and then there were like a lot of experiences that led up to this, right? Do I? But do I think what is considered a threat is stretched a little far a lot? Yeah. I think that could be more clearly defined, I guess I'd
Sure.
say.
Okay, so let's say it's a very explicit threat. So you call up somebody on the phone and say, "I'm going to come to your house and do blah blah blah." Um, do you think that should be illegal? And going back to what you said, like when people threaten the president or stuff on Twitter, I know the Secret Service goes out and they try to assess the situation. I don't think they always arrest the person. So I guess it just depends. I don't know if it's always illegal and sometimes it's not. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I don't think it should be like illegal so much as like investigated, but I think if there's malice, it should be, right? Because I mean, what happens when there's a stalker making threats but they haven't done anything? Well, it should just be legal because they're threatening this person, scaring the hell out of them all the time. Like that
Oh,
should just be legal.
I don't know. Stalking might need to be illegal, but I don't know. I
But they
just
have wait, but does it matter? Because what if they haven't touched them, right? They're just sending threatening messages and stuff.
that's a good point. Yeah, maybe I need to think about that position too. Um, hmm. But I feel like I feel like words aren't violence, and if you threaten someone, though the current situation is, if you threaten someone, that person might be justified in doing something to you in like self defense, right? Because you threatened them and they felt threatened for their life.
What about
Um,
this case? What about this case? There's this case where this mother got sentenced to prison, and it's really interesting to me. She basically text harassed and cyberbullied her own daughter for years. Sent her threatening messages, sent her messages about how she was terrible, she was shit, she should kill herself, she was stealing her boyfriend, just all kinds of stuff. Just pretended to be someone her daughter's age and trashed the shit out of her and threatened her and threatened her and threatened her. But it was just speech, right?
you know, I, That's what I'm questioning. That's the whole thing that I'm questioning, and I would say yes because I do feel like to some degree we choose to be upset or offended. We choose our reaction, And you know, I don't feel like just because somebody said some dumb shit that you're justified in murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Sterling, I think you're missing a point here. Like if somebody says dumb shit on the internet, you can ignore it. This was a girl's own mother doing this repeatedly, like every fucking day.
Well, couldn't she have
It's,
blocked the? She couldn't block the number or whatever.
they lived in the same house, dude.
No, no, no. But it wasn't like verbal. I thought Pixie was saying that she was doing it, trolling her like online.
Yeah, but
They're
you know, but
calling
but
her. She
the
could.
mother could still. I'm gonna go back to muting.
No,
You mean
that's a good
okay,
question.
like some, but like some internet troll or like the Charlie Kirk situation or like other
Well, look,
stuff like
the case that she
that I
gave, the
don't.
mom.
Oh yeah, the mom. No, she was like spoofing like fake numbers.
Oh, it's called a different number every day and that kind of thing.
And just like harassing the shit out of her daughter, like for
You know,
real.
harassment is a crime. You know, which is different from
Yeah.
the threats of violence. So I think that those two things could be potentially separated. It's a good point, Midnight. Uh, I would say harassment should be a
Thanks.
crime. Yeah, or maybe I should rethink that too because maybe harassment is subjective in itself too. Um, but yeah, can you think of any examples of things that you definitely shouldn't be able to say?
Um,
I mean, there's
I
obviously
wouldn't. I
classic.
wouldn't suggest talking to any minors in an inappropriate manner.
What do you say, Midnight?
I was gonna go with the classic. You can't yell out fire in a crowded room.
Right. That's the most common example that they give, right? So is that a crime though to do that? I've always
They
heard that, but like,
say they say it is, but I don't know.
like,
So it's an expression. It's not that the phrase itself is illegal.
what would
It's
you
a
use to use it
it's a
for?
coined expression. So you have to realize the time period it came from. Theaters, very narrow entrances, women with big dresses. Most people weren't actually crushed in the actual like fire incidents and things like that. They were crushed because of like the panic and the stampede. So that is a phrase, but it's not that the phrase itself is illegal. It's that you're not supposed to like incite a riot that leads to harm to the people around you.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Inciting a riot. Which, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a crime.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know. There are just certain threats that like I get it. It's just words like I'm gonna kick your ass or I'm gonna kill you. Like those are just words, right? But when you're talking about like if somebody knows where I live, like they know me personally, and they're a little bit off their fucking rocker and they start saying shit like I'm gonna drive over there and put one between your eyes. Hell yeah, no, you shouldn't be able to say that to me. Why should you be able to be saying that to me all the time? Like I should look over my shoulder. I got people in the house I got to worry about. I shouldn't have to worry about your crazy ass. And maybe like he shouldn't be locked up or killed for that, but I should get a restraining order for that, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. You would definitely need to protect yourself. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that person should be in prison or whatever. I'm not sure. It's a slippery slope, I guess. Like what you should be allowed to say.
And you definitely should not be able to say inappropriate things to minors.
Oh yeah, that was the example you gave.
Yeah. You shouldn't be able
Hmm.
to do that.
I hadn't considered that one.
And you shouldn't say violent things to young children either.
Hmm.
Their response is much different. They're kind of defenseless and they don't have a real sense of like the world and whether that's just frustrate like you can really terrify and traumatize a kid that way, like saying stupid violent shit to them. Like you shouldn't be able to do that. That should be a no-no.
And I guess you might run into a difficult. It might be difficult to say what are the things you can't tell a kid. What are the things you can? Can you curse around a kid? That sort of thing. Like, I think you kind of implied like sexual stuff. Which I guess
Well, not just that, but like if you're a 40-year-old or a 30-year-old and you tell like if you're getting a 5-year-old in trouble, and you're screaming at them and you say some stupid shit like I'm gonna cut your fingers off or I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna drown you and you take him to the bathtub, hell yeah, that should be that should be illegal. That should be illegal. Like, cause fuck you for that. I don't care if you actually did it. I don't care if you left a bruise. You should not be able to say things like that to a child. Period. Maybe that's the mom in me because I know how kids are special in that when they process people's words, especially harsh words directed at them, they don't think, I don't care, or that person has a problem, or what's your deal. They think, what's wrong with me? I earned that. I deserved this. What's wrong with me? And if it's somebody who cares for them, they will love them anyway. And they will keep telling themselves that there's something wrong with them. And so, yeah, I think if your words put a child in that position, that shouldn't be something you should be allowed to do.
Would you say that's child abuse?
Yes. And I don't care if it's just words.
Yeah, and I've heard people say all kind of things. I've heard somebody I don't know where I was, but some random stranger was talking to their kid on the phone, talking about, "I'm gonna come home and beat your ass," that sort of thing. And I was like, wow. I don't know. I don't know if it should be illegal. It's just it is harmful. It's certainly harmful. Um, Maybe it is child abuse, but the threat itself, I don't know. I can separate. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm all for free speech and words are words, but I do think that there are limits that you shouldn't be able to just go around doing.
You could say it's also harmful to brainwash your children into religion. Some people might say that that's harmful, telling them that there was a great flood and so forth. Um, so again, it gets pretty tricky as far as like what you're not going to be able to say to a child and what you can.
I don't know. I guess maybe I was also probably more careful than a lot of people were. Like I really thought about the words I brought up my child with. I never told her she was bad. Or I never told her she was being bad. Not once. Not once. I told her she was too pretty to act that ugly, but I never ever told her she was bad or that she did bad because I never wanted her to equate messing up with being bad. And so I never put the two together ever. So I was probably more careful than a lot of people, I guess.
What about lying? What about lying? Should that be illegal to tell a lie, or maybe like under oath was the example I thought, like perjury. I just thought about that, and I would have a hard time defending that to say that you should be able to lie in court. Um, right? That should definitely be illegal, right?
Yes. Especially because you can always refuse to answer. I don't know. There's always limits to everything, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe that is right. Maybe the jury should just decide based off of what they heard, and people should be able to lie in court, I guess. But I don't know. That's tricky too. I can't justify that. I have a bigger problem with that than
I
you
think
know.
people do anyway.
They do though. Yeah.
I mean, no. It's all a bunch of grayness, and I don't have the solution. But I sure don't like some of the solutions being proposed.
Yeah, that's why my default is let people say whatever the fuck they want. You know.
All right. Well, thank you, pretty shiny peoples, but I should probably go to bed. It's almost 1 a.m. and I have to get up early for work.
Thanks for having me. See you midnight.
Thank you for being here,
night.
Sterling. Thank you, Midnight. And I will not play my outro because for some reason I doubt it's gonna work if my intro is not working. But as always, pretty shiny peoples, smile bunches, laugh lots, and have great fun. Later days.